obviously a very serious story, so we're happy tonight to speak to Chad Wolf. He is the acting secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, which is playing a big role in our response to coronavirus. He joins us tonight. Mr. Secretary, thanks so much for coming on. So you, among other things, run customs. What are you doing to keep people who have this virus from coming into the United States?
Well, the president's been very clear, and he gave clear direction, which is to protect the American people. So over the weekend, we took action to make sure that we're screening individuals both at our land, sea, and air ports of entry. So what you've seen over the past several days is we have a number of airplanes coming from mainland China, and really any other individuals who have been in China for the past 14 days. They're funneled to 11 specific airports. And that's to make sure that we have enough medical professionals there to assess them and to determine what type of medical care they need and, if applicable, quarantine measures. So we're doing that in the air environment, and we're also taking similar measures both, again, at land ports of entry and our seaports as well.
So are you confident, since there is a long incubation period for this virus, that you can identify the people who are infected?
Well, we're certainly taking our lead from the medical professionals at CDC, and that is their medical strategy at the moment. So again, we have this 14-day window that we're concerned about, that we're looking at folks, again, both in the air environment but also in the port environment. So we've already run into several ships where we need to make sure that those individuals that may or may not be sick, that may have left China or arrived at a U.S. port in between this 14-day period are assessed. And so we're doing that, and that's at the direction of the medical professionals at CDC. So we're fairly confident with that 14-day period. And then again, if you are showing signs or you need to be self-imposed quarantine, then you're taking those measures as well.
How concerned should the rest of us be, Americans, about this?
Well, I think you need to take it seriously. Overall, the threat to the homeland remains relatively low, but we want to make sure, and that's why we put these measures in place over the weekend. We want to make sure that that threat remains low, so that it doesn't spiral. So again, with the medical professionals at the CDC, we're taking our lead from them. Their strategy continues to evolve, and as that evolves, then the operators at DHS that are protecting your airports, your seaports, and your land ports of entry, we're going to adjust as well. But we have fairly specific measures in place, and we feel very confident at this point.
So I want to ask you about another story. The state of New York, under Governor Andrew Cuomo, is issuing driver's licenses to people here illegally. Obviously, a massive security threat to the rest of the country. I mean, giving government IDs to people who shouldn't be here. What's your response to this?
Well, that's certainly disappointing. I would say we're talking about the New York's green light law, which they passed late last year. An aspect of that, as you mentioned, Tucker, provides driver's license to illegal aliens. But another aspect of that, which I'm more concerned about, that law, what that does is it prohibits access to both ICE and CBP, that's Customs and Border Protection, access to DMV data. And that's important for a number of different reasons. ICE uses that as they build cases and they're investigating criminal networks. They're using that personal data that they get from that database to look up an individual's date of birth, their photo, and they're using that as they build that case. They can no longer do that because of what New York did. CBP also uses that for national security purposes, also for customs reasons, but also for trade and travel. They use this data. So when we talk about CBP's trusted traveler programs like Global Entry, anyone who travels, they use that DMV data to make sure that those individuals are low risk and meet the eligibility requirements.
Yes.
And I will say that today we sent a letter to New York indicating, because they took these measures, that New York residents are no longer eligible to enroll in these trusted traveler programs.
All residents in New York, the tens of
That's correct. They can enroll or re-enroll in these trusted traveler programs that Customs and Border Protection offers, because we no longer have access to make sure that they meet those program requirements. So we need to do our job. We need to make sure that.
Of course, and good for you. It's just that will be a shock to a lot of New Yorkers, but I support that completely. Mr. Secretary, thank you. I wish we had more time, and I appreciate your coming on to explain that.
Great.
Both of those
Thank
stories.
you.